22 million people are in the path of severe storms right now, and most of them have no idea what is about to hit. If you live anywhere from Ohio to Pennsylvania, what I am about to tell you in the next 60 seconds could save your life tomorrow. But here is the thing that nobody is talking about yet. This entire storm system, the one threatening the Ohio Valley, the one that could drop baseball-sized hail on Pittsburgh, it is directly connected to a catastrophic flood that just trapped 5,000 people in Hawaii yesterday. One weather pattern, 3,000 miles apart, and it is all converging on the eastern United States in the next 24 hours. Stay with me, because at the 5-minute mark, I am going to show you the exact hour, down to the minute, when these storms will hit your city. And if you make it to the 8-minute mark, I have a critical update about a fire danger situation in Texas that could turn deadly by tomorrow afternoon. But first, let me tell you what just happened, because this is where the story gets wild. Yesterday, March 21st, 2026, was one of the most extreme weather days this country has seen all year. And I am not exaggerating. Over 13 inches of rain fell in parts of Hawaii in less than 24 hours. 13 inches. To put that in perspective, that is more rain than Los Angeles normally gets in an entire year, and it fell in one day on one island. That wall of water triggered a flash flood emergency, which is the highest level of flood warning the National Weather Service can issue. The town of Hawaii was completely cut off, roads gone, bridges impassable, people trapped in their homes with water rising around them. And while that was happening in Hawaii, on the exact same day, the Snohomish River in Washington state crested at 30.5 feet. That is an all-time record, not a seasonal record, not a yearly record. The highest the Snohomish River has ever been since they started keeping records. Think about that for a second. But here's the detail that sent chills down my spine when I read it. The runoff from that Hawaiian flooding pushed the 120-year-old Wahiawa Dam to within just 6 feet of its maximum capacity. 6 feet. That is it. That is the margin between a dam holding and a dam failing. And downstream from that dam, 5,000 people were evacuated. 5,000 people grabbed what they could carry and left their homes because a dam that has stood for over a century was dangerously close to its breaking point. Now, you might be wondering, why am I telling you about Hawaii and Washington state when the big story tomorrow is in Ohio and Pennsylvania? And that is the exact right question to ask. Because here's the connection that most people are missing, and this is the part you absolutely cannot skip. All of this, the flooding in Hawaii, the record river levels in Washington, the heat dome baking the Southwest, and the severe storms about to slam the Ohio Valley, all of it is connected to one single weather pattern. One atmospheric setup is driving everything. The same subtropical jet stream that dumped 13 inches of rain on Hawaii is the same energy source that has been feeding the western heat dome. And that heat dome is the reason temperatures are going to hit 91 degrees in St. Louis tomorrow, while Pittsburgh could see 85 to 86 degrees. That abnormal warmth surging northward is the fuel for what happens next. And what happens next is a cold front. A powerful cold front is going to come crashing into that warm air mass like a freight train. When cold air meets warm air that aggressively, the atmosphere becomes violently unstable, and that instability is going to explode into severe thunderstorms across the Ohio Valley on Sunday. Let me explain exactly why this setup is so concerning, because understanding the science helps you take this seriously. Right now, the atmosphere over the Ohio Valley is capped. That means there is a layer of warm air aloft, acting like a lid on a pressure cooker. The air near the surface is warm and humid. It wants to rise, but that cap is holding it down. All that energy is building with nowhere to go. Tomorrow afternoon, as the cold front approaches and the sun heats the surface even further, that cap is going to break. And when it does, all of that pent-up energy is going to release at once. The atmosphere goes from calm to violent in a matter of minutes. Storms will tower to 40,000, 50,000, maybe 60,000 feet. That is higher than commercial aircraft fly, and the updrafts in those storms will be strong enough to keep hailstones aloft long enough to grow to the size of golf balls or larger. This is what meteorologists call a loaded gun situation. All the ingredients are in place. The trigger, which is the cold front, is approaching, and once it fires, there is no stopping what comes next. So let me break this down for you city by city, because this is the part you have been waiting for. This is the exact timing, the exact threats, and exactly what you need to do. The Storm Prediction Center has placed over 22 million people under a risk for severe weather on Sunday, March 22nd. This includes major population centers in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, and Maryland. There are three main threats, and I am going to rank them for you from highest to lowest concern. Number 1, and this is the biggest threat, damaging hail. The hail risk is at the enhanced level, which means we are not talking about pea-sized ice bouncing off your windshield. We are talking about potentially significant hail, large enough to shatter car windows, dent metal roofing, and cause serious injury if you are caught outside. The highest hail risk runs from Columbus, Ohio, through Morgantown, West Virginia, and right through Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you live in that corridor, you need to get your vehicles under cover tomorrow. If you have a carport, use it. If you have a garage, park inside. This is not a drill. Number 2, damaging winds. As we get deeper into Sunday evening, the individual storm cells are going to merge into a solid line of storms called a squall line. When that happens, the primary threat shifts from hail to straight-line winds that could gust over 60 miles per hour. These are the kinds of winds that snap tree limbs, bring down power lines, and flip trampolines into the neighbor's yard. Number 3, and this is the lowest probability but still worth mentioning, tornadoes. There is a 2% risk for tornadoes, primarily in Ohio into western Pennsylvania, including the Pittsburgh metro area. Now, 2% might sound small, but let me put it this way. A 2% tornado risk from the Storm Prediction Center still means conditions are favorable enough that a tornado could form. The reason the tornado risk is not higher is actually interesting. We have wind shear, meaning the winds are changing speed as you go up in altitude, but the winds are not changing direction much, and you need both speed shear and directional shear to get that spinning, rotating motion that produces tornadoes. Without that directional change, the storms are more likely to produce large hail and strong winds rather than twisters. Now here's the timing, and this is what I promised you at the beginning. Pay close attention because this is broken into 2 distinct windows. Window number 1, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock in the evening Eastern Time. This is when isolated supercell thunderstorms will fire up across Pennsylvania. These are the big individual monster storms that rotate and produce the largest hail. If you are in the Pittsburgh area, the Altoona area, or anywhere along the Interstate 70 and Interstate 76 corridors in Pennsylvania, this is your window. These supercells will be capable of producing hail 2 inches in diameter or larger. They will be most intense between 5:30 and 7 o'clock as the afternoon heating peaks and the sun angle drops. Window number 2, 7 o'clock in the evening to 10 o'clock at night Eastern Time. This is when a line of damaging winds pushes across Ohio into West Virginia. Columbus, you are in this window. Wheeling, you are in this window. Charleston, West Virginia, you are in this window. The storms during this phase will be more linear, meaning instead of individual supercells, you will see a wall of storms sweeping through from west to east. The primary danger shifts to widespread damaging winds and heavy rain. And here is what happens after 10 o'clock. As we head deeper into Sunday night, the cold front will force all of these storms to consolidate into one massive line. That line will continue pushing eastward through the overnight hours. If you are in Maryland, the eastern panhandle of West Virginia, or western Virginia, the storms will reach you between 11 o'clock at night and 2 o'clock in the morning. And I know what you are thinking, great, storms while I am sleeping. That is exactly why you need to have a way to receive warnings that will actually wake you up. A weather radio. Your phone alerts turned on. Something. Because storms that hit while people are asleep are the most dangerous storms of all. Not because they are stronger, but because people are not awake to take shelter. And let me be very specific here about what areas need to be on highest alert and at what times. This is the city-by-city breakdown I promised you. If you are in Columbus, Ohio, your window of concern is 6:30 to 9 o'clock in the evening. The storms approaching from the west will be in their mature phase as they cross the Columbus metro. Have your safe room identified. Interior room, lowest floor, away from windows. If you have a basement, that is your spot. If you are in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Your window is 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. This is the supercell window. These storms will be individual, rotating monsters capable of dropping large hail. I cannot stress this enough. Get your car in the garage before 5 o'clock. If you have outdoor furniture, secure it or bring it in. If you have pets that stay outside, bring them inside before the storms arrive. If you are in Morgantown, West Virginia, your window is 6 to 9 in the evening. You are right in the overlap zone between the supercell threat and the developing squall line. This means you could see both large hail from supercells and damaging winds from the line. If you are in Akron or Canton, Ohio, your window is 7 to 10 in the evening. The squall line will be fully mature by the time it reaches you. Expect gusty winds, heavy rain, and possible small hail. If you are in Wheeling, West Virginia, your timing is similar to Akron, 7 to 10 in the evening. The storms will be racing east at that point. If you are in Huntington, West Virginia, you are looking at 8 to 11 at night. The storms will be weakening slightly as they push further south, but damaging winds are still very possible. If you are in Charleston, West Virginia, your window extends from 9 at night to midnight. You are far enough south that the storm should be weakening, but do not let your guard down. Squall lines have a nasty habit of producing brief spin-up tornadoes even as they weaken. If you are in Harrisburg or Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you might see the tail end of this system between 10 at night and 1 in the morning. The threat will be diminished but not gone. If you are in Hagerstown, Cumberland, or Western Maryland, your window is 11 at night to 2 in the morning. Again, the storms will be weaker by this point, but still capable of gusty winds and heavy rain. One more thing about timing that is critical. The storms are going to be most dangerous as the sun goes down. That is not a coincidence. When the sun sets, the atmosphere changes in subtle but important ways. The low-level jet stream, which is a river of fast-moving air about 3,000 feet above the ground, ramps up after sunset. That increasing low-level wind adds more energy to the storms right at the time when people are going inside, letting their guard down, and getting ready for bed. So if you are in the path of these storms, do not assume that because it is dark outside and the sun is down, the worst has passed. The opposite is true. The storms often become their most dangerous right after sunset. Now, do not go anywhere, because I need to tell you about the temperatures driving this event, and this is where it gets truly wild. Let me take you on a tour of what the thermometer is going to look like across America tomorrow, because the temperature contrasts are absolutely staggering. This is the kind of setup that meteorologists get nervous about. Let us start in the Southwest, where the heat dome has been absolutely relentless. Phoenix, Arizona is going to hit 103 degrees. Let me say that again, 103 degrees in March. Tucson is going to be at 100 degrees even. Yuma, Arizona, 106 degrees. That is the hottest spot in the entire country. Scottsdale, 102. Mesa, 101. Tempe, 103. Chandler, 102. These are temperatures you would expect in July, not in March. Over in the California desert, it is even more extreme. Indio, California, 104 degrees. Palm Springs, 100 degrees. El Centro, 104. Borrego Springs, 104. Coachella, 104. Death Valley, which we know as Furnace Creek, is going to be at 90 degrees, which actually sounds mild compared to the others, but Death Valley's time is coming. Now let us push into Texas, because Texas is in the middle of an extraordinary heat event. Amarillo, 94 degrees, Lubbock, 95, Midland, 95, Odessa, 95, Abilene, 94, Wichita Falls, 94, Dallas, 89, Fort Worth, 87, San Antonio, 91, Austin, 89. Houston is a relatively mild 77, but go north and west and the numbers get extreme fast. El Paso, 94, Andrews, 95, Lampasas, 93. The Texas Panhandle and West Texas are cooking under this heat dome, and that is not just a comfort issue, that is a fire danger issue, which I will get to in just a few minutes. Let us move into the area where the severe storms are going to hit, because these temperatures are the fuel for tomorrow's explosive weather. St. Louis, Missouri is looking at a high near 91 degrees ahead of the cold front. That is record-challenging heat for this time of year. Kansas City, 88. Springfield, Missouri, 85. Jefferson City, 89, Indianapolis, 75, Cincinnati, 67, Columbus, Ohio, 63. Pittsburgh right now is sitting at 37 degrees, but tomorrow afternoon, Pittsburgh is going to surge to 85 or 86 degrees. That is a swing of nearly 50 degrees in less than 24 hours. And then after the cold front passes tomorrow night, Pittsburgh drops right back down. That kind of temperature whiplash is exactly what creates violent weather. Let me keep moving through the Ohio Valley and tell you what the current conditions look like, because understanding where we are right now helps you understand why tomorrow is going to be so intense. In Ohio right now, Akron is at 53 degrees, Canton 52, Cleveland 40, that is 40 degrees, Dayton 63, Toledo 37, Youngstown 54. These are cool temperatures, normal temperatures, but by tomorrow afternoon, these cities are going to see temperatures jump 20 to 30 degrees above where they are right now. And that rapid warming is like throwing gasoline on a fire for thunderstorm development. In Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is at 55 degrees, Pittsburgh 37, Allentown 47, Erie 37, Harrisburg 52, State College 48, Scranton 39, Reading 52. These are chilly temperatures for a Saturday night. Tomorrow, several of these cities will be 30 or more degrees warmer, and sitting on top of that warmth will be a lid of warm air aloft that is going to cap the atmosphere, building pressure like a pot about to boil over. When that cap breaks, and it will break tomorrow afternoon, the storms will explode upward with tremendous force. Let us look at Kentucky. Lexington 69 degrees, Louisville 76, Bowling Green 78, Hopkinsville 79. These are already warm. Tomorrow they will be even warmer. The warm air extends from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up through the Ohio Valley, and when that cold front slams into it, watch out. West Virginia, which is right in the crosshairs. Charleston 70 degrees, Morgantown 61, Huntington 71, Wheeling 59. These areas are going to see the storms push through during that second window from 7 to 10 o'clock at night. Now, I told you I would get to this at the 8-minute mark, and here we are. Let us talk about the fire danger situation, because this is critical and it is not getting nearly enough attention. While the Ohio Valley prepares for severe storms, the Texas Panhandle and southwest Oklahoma are facing a completely different but equally dangerous threat. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a critical fire weather risk for Sunday, and when they say critical, they mean it. This is the highest level of fire weather alert. Here is why this is so dangerous. A strong cold front is going to sweep through the area on Sunday. Now, you would think a cold front would cool things down and reduce fire danger, right? Wrong. This cold front is not all that cold. Temperatures ahead of the front will still be in the 70s, and as the front passes, it is not going to drop temperatures dramatically. But what it is going to do is unleash winds gusting 45 to 50 miles per hour. 45 to 50 mile per hour winds across terrain that has been baking under an anomalous heat dome for weeks. The fuels on the ground, meaning the grass, the brush, the vegetation, they are completely cured. That is a fire weather term that means the vegetation is dried out to the point where it will ignite and burn at maximum intensity. Any spark, any ember, any dragging trailer chain, any cigarette thrown from a car window, any equipment malfunction is going to spread a fire at terrifying speeds. We are talking about fire that can move faster than a person can run. Abilene, Texas is at 94 degrees right now. Wichita Falls, 94. Altus, Oklahoma, 95. Amarillo, 94. Lubbock, 95. These are the areas in the bullseye. The humidity is bone dry. The winds will be howling, and the vegetation is ready to burn. If you live in this area, please, I am asking you directly, do not do any outdoor burning tomorrow. Make sure your trailer chains are secured and not dragging on pavement. Be extremely careful with any equipment that could create sparks. One mistake, one careless moment, and you could be the reason an entire community loses homes. And I want to talk about this for another minute because it deserves more attention. Last year, we saw what happens when fire weather conditions like this are ignored. A single spark from a dragging chain started a fire that consumed thousands of acres in the Texas Panhandle in a matter of hours. Cattle were lost, homes were destroyed, lives were changed forever. And it all started with something completely preventable. So when I say secure your chains, I am not being dramatic. I am being serious. When I say no outdoor burning, I mean zero. Not even a small brush pile, not even a quick burn of trash, nothing. The conditions tomorrow are simply too dangerous. Let me give you the specific fire weather timeline for the Texas Panhandle. The winds will begin increasing around 11 o'clock in the morning Central Time as the cold front approaches from the northwest. By early afternoon, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, winds will be gusting 35 to 40 miles per hour. By late afternoon, 3 to 5 o'clock, that is when the worst conditions will occur. Winds gusting 45 to 50 miles per hour, relative humidity dropping to 10 to 15%. Temperatures still in the 70s and 80s. Any fire that starts during this window will be virtually impossible to stop until the winds calm down after sunset. That is a 6 to 8 hour window of extreme fire danger. Plan your day accordingly. Now, before I move on to what is coming later in the week, let me give you the full picture of temperatures across America right now because this is unprecedented. I have data from over 1,000 weather stations across the country, and the contrasts are absolutely mind-blowing. Let us start in the deep south where things are warm and beautiful. Atlanta, 79 degrees and clear skies. Charlotte, 76. Savannah, 77. Jacksonville, 80. Nashville, 83. Birmingham, 79. New Orleans, 75. Baton Rouge, 75. Memphis, 79. Tampa, 68. Orlando, 75. Miami, 73. Now contrast that with what is happening up in New England. Boston, 43 degrees. Portland, Maine, 35. Burlington, Vermont, 34. Bangor, Maine, 31. Montpelier, 28 degrees. Presque Isle, 28. Berlin, New Hampshire, 21 degrees, 21 degrees. While Phoenix is at 103, that is an 82-degree difference between two American cities on the same day in March. 82 degrees. That is not a typo, and it gets even more extreme when you go to Alaska. Prudhoe Bay is at negative 16 degrees, Utqiagvik negative 12, at Kasuk negative 12, Point Hope 1 degree above zero. Meanwhile, Yuma, Arizona is at 106. That is a 122-degree temperature difference across this country right now. 122 degrees from Prudhoe Bay to Yuma. Same nation, same day. Let me continue with the mountain states. Denver is at 83 degrees, Colorado Springs 84, Boulder 88, Fort Collins 86, Pueblo 91, Cheyenne 77. These are abnormally warm for the Colorado Front Range. Salt Lake City 78, Boise 66, Billings, Montana only 49, Missoula 48, Helena 52, Great Falls 37. So you can see the cold air is bottled up in the northern Rockies while the heat dominates everywhere else. The Pacific Northwest is fairly mild. Seattle 53, Portland, Oregon 57, Spokane 57, Olympia 52, Bellingham 49, Eugene 56. These are near normal temperatures, but that is about to change dramatically by Tuesday, which I will get to in a moment. California is showing its typical spring pattern, but amplified. Los Angeles 68, San Francisco 66, San Diego 67, Sacramento 85, Fresno 87, Bakersfield 91, Redding 83, San Jose 77. The Central Valley and inland areas are running hot while the coast stays mild thanks to the marine layer. Let me run through the upper Midwest because this region is caught in a fascinating tug of war between seasons. Minneapolis 78, St. Paul 69, Duluth 34, International Falls, 34. Rochester, Minnesota, 73. Fargo, 36. Bismarck, 40. Sioux Falls, 81. Sioux City, 95. Look at that. Sioux City, Iowa is at 95 degrees in March. Lincoln, Nebraska, 94. Omaha, 90. Grand Island, 92. Kearney, 91. The heat across Nebraska and Iowa is genuinely extreme. And do not miss this part. I want you to see just how wild the contrast is within single states. In Minnesota, Minneapolis is at 78 degrees, while Duluth, just 150 miles to the north, is at 34. That is a 44-degree difference within one state. In New York, New York City is at 51, while Plattsburgh, up by the Canadian border, is at 31, 20-degree spread. In Michigan, Grand Rapids is at 58, while Alpena is at 34. Now, let me tell you about what is coming later this week because this story is far from over. Do not skip this part. What happens Tuesday through Thursday could be even more impactful than tomorrow's severe weather. Remember that subtropical jet stream I mentioned earlier, the one that caused the flooding in Hawaii? Well, by Tuesday, the core of that jet is going to accelerate toward the Pacific Northwest, and it is going to drive a powerful new mid-latitude cyclone that will slam into Washington and Oregon. Here is what that means for you if you live in the Pacific Northwest. The lower elevations of Washington and Oregon are going to get moderately heavy rain starting Tuesday. We are talking 1 to 2 inches for the valleys. But the mountains, the Olympics, and the Cascades, they are going to get absolutely buried under heavy snow. We could see 2 to 3 feet of new snow at the higher passes. If you have travel plans over the Cascades or through the mountain passes of Washington or Oregon midweek, you need to rethink those plans or at minimum, be prepared for significant delays and possible closures. Let me be specific about which passes and routes will be affected. Snoqualmie Pass on Interstate 90, Stevens Pass on Highway 2, White Pass on Highway 12. In Oregon, Santiam Pass on Highway 20 and the Mount Hood Corridor on Highway 26. All of these routes are going to see heavy snow. Snoqualmie Pass could see 18 to 24 inches of new snow in a 24-hour period. Stevens Pass could see even more because of its higher elevation and more favorable orientation to the southwesterly flow. If you are a trucker running loads between Seattle and Ellensburg or between Portland and Bend, you need to watch this very carefully. Chain requirements are almost guaranteed. Temporary closures are possible. The lowland rain from this system is going to be significant too. Seattle could pick up 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain Tuesday into Wednesday. Portland, similar amounts. Olympia, possibly closer to 2 inches. For areas that have already seen above normal precipitation this year, this additional rain could cause some minor urban flooding and small stream rises. Nothing catastrophic like what we saw in Hawaii, but enough to be a nuisance. But the real concern comes Wednesday. By Wednesday, this system crosses the Continental Divide and rapidly deepens into a powerful surface low over the Canadian Rockies. When a low-pressure system deepens that quickly, it is called a bomb cyclone or bombogenesis. And this one is going to unleash a concentrated area of very strong, potentially damaging winds across the northern Rockies and the high plains. I want to give you specific wind projections for this midweek event because it is going to affect a lot of people. Great Falls, Montana could see wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Helena, 50 to 60. Billings, 45 to 55. Casper, Wyoming, 40 to 50. Cheyenne, similar. The stretch of Interstate 90 between Billings and Sheridan is notorious for dangerous crosswinds, and next week is going to be one of those events. Interstate 15 from Great Falls down to Helena and Butte is going to be equally bad. If you are driving a high-profile vehicle, that means semi-trucks, box trucks, RVs, vehicles towing trailers, on Interstate 15 or Interstate 90 by the middle of next week, you need to be prepared for serious crosswinds. We are talking about wind gusts that can tip over an 18-wheeler. This is not hypothetical. It happens multiple times every year in this corridor, and next week's setup looks particularly dangerous. Montana, you have been dealing with wind all season. Great Falls is at 37 degrees with overcast skies right now. Billings, 49 with broken clouds. Butte, 48. These areas are going to see another round of intense winds. I know you are tired of it, but this one could be worse than what we have seen recently. Now, I promised you nice weather too because not everywhere is getting hammered. So let me give you the good news. If you are in Georgia, South Carolina, or Florida tomorrow, enjoy it. You are going to have gorgeous weather. And I mean postcard perfect weather. The kind of weather that makes you want to sit on the porch with a glass of sweet tea and just breathe. Atlanta is clear at 79 degrees. By tomorrow afternoon, you will see low 80s with sunshine. Savannah, 77 and clear. Charleston, South Carolina, 71 with passing clouds that will clear out overnight. Jacksonville, 80 with passing clouds. Orlando, 75 and clear. Tampa, 68 and clear. Miami, 73 with passing clouds. Pensacola, 67. Sarasota, 68. Naples, 70. Fort Myers, 70. This is classic spring perfection across the southeast. And I want to point something out that is really interesting from a weather perspective. While 22 million people in the Ohio Valley are preparing for severe storms, and the Texas Panhandle is under critical fire danger, and northern New England is bracing for a winter storm, The Southeast is going to be experiencing some of the nicest weather in the entire country, same day, same weather pattern. But the Southeast is in the sweet spot between the cold air to the north and the extreme heat to the west. That is why the temperatures are comfortable, the skies are clear, and the humidity is low. If you planned an outdoor event in Georgia, South Carolina, or Florida for tomorrow, you could not have picked a better day. The California coast is also looking great. Los Angeles, 68 and sunny. San Francisco, 66 with passing clouds. San Diego, 67 with broken clouds. Santa Barbara, 63 with fog clearing by mid-morning. Monterey, 64 and sunny. Santa Cruz, 68 and sunny. If you are on the coast, tomorrow is a beach day. Now, if you go inland, it is a different story. Sacramento is going to be 85. Fresno, 87. Bakersfield, 91. The Central Valley is hot. But the coast has that beautiful marine layer keeping things comfortable. One more area of nice weather that people might not expect. The northern Great Plains east of the Rockies but west of the storm zone. Places like Rapid City, South Dakota at 80 degrees. Pierre at 73. Cheyenne at 77. These areas are going to have warm temperatures, sunshine, and light winds tomorrow. If you are out there, get outside and enjoy it because the wind event coming later in the week is going to make you want to stay indoors. Now, here is what you need to know about the longer range outlook, and this is honestly the part that concerns me the most, even more than tomorrow's severe weather. Looking 8 to 14 days ahead, the heat that has been locked into the southwest is going to spread eastward. The ridge pattern that has been keeping all that warm air bottled up over Arizona, Nevada, and Southern California is going to relax and allow that heat to spill into the deep south, the Ohio Valley, and eventually the southeast. We are looking at temperatures running much above average across a huge swath of the country from roughly March 30th through April 4th. The Deep South is going to feel it the most. Temperatures that are already warm are going to get even warmer. We could see high temperature records challenged in places like Birmingham, Atlanta, Jackson, Mississippi, and Memphis. But here is the flip side. The Northeast, from Boston to Bangor, from Burlington to Buffalo, you are going to remain stuck under below-average temperatures for the foreseeable future. A persistent trough pattern over the northeastern United States is going to keep funneling cold air into that region. So if you are in New England hoping for spring warmth, I am sorry to say, it is not coming anytime soon. You are looking at least 2 more weeks of below-average temperatures and unsettled weather. Now, on the precipitation side, here is something interesting. Almost the entire country is going to see average to above average precipitation over the next 2 weeks. Nobody is below average, but 2 areas stand out as likely to get significantly more rain than usual. The first is the Southwest, specifically southern Arizona, New Mexico, and southwest Texas. This is unusual because this region is typically bone dry this time of year. The subtropical jet stream activity is going to bring moisture into areas that rarely see it in late March. The second area is the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. These regions are going to see repeated rounds of precipitation as storm systems track across the central and eastern United States. Now, let me circle back to the Northeast and talk about something that is going to catch a lot of people off guard. Snow. Yes, snow. In late March, from Sunday into Monday, a winter storm is going to affect northern New England. The heaviest accumulations are going to be in the higher elevations, the Adirondack Mountains of New York, the Green Mountains of Vermont, and the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Here is why this snow event is significant beyond just the accumulation numbers. This is late March. Many people in northern New England have already mentally checked out of winter mode. Snow tires have come off some vehicles. Snow blowers have been put away. Salt supplies at municipal garages have been drawn down. And now we are talking about a legitimate winter storm that could drop 7 to 12 inches of snow in the mountains and cause hazardous driving conditions for the Monday morning commute. This is a reminder that in New England, winter does not end because the calendar says it should, and there is something else to consider. The trees. In parts of southern Vermont and southern New Hampshire, some of the early blooming trees and shrubs have started to bud. The red maples and silver maples are showing the first signs of spring growth. A heavy wet snow event on top of those early buds can cause significant branch breakage. That means power outages. If you live in the transition zone between rain and snow across Vermont and New Hampshire, you need to be prepared for the possibility of losing power. Have flashlights ready, charge your devices, make sure you have a way to stay warm if the heat goes out. Here is the timeline. Snow begins early Sunday morning across the mountains of northern New England. It continues through Sunday evening before pushing offshore. This is a classic warm air advection snow event, which means southwesterly winds are forcing moisture up and over the mountains, wringing out every last bit of snowfall. Below the mountains, it is rain. South of a line running roughly from Albany to Worcester, everything falls as rain. But north of that line, in the mountains, we are looking at significant snow. Let me give you the numbers. Auburn, Maine could see 7.3 inches of snow. Augusta, Maine, 6.8 inches. Dover, Foxcroft, Maine, 7.1 inches. And in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, there are a couple of spots that could see over a foot. Hart S location in Bartlett along Highway 16, that is where the heaviest snow is going to fall. We are talking 12 to possibly 15 inches in the most favorable terrain. Now, if you live in southern New England, in Massachusetts or Connecticut, you are mostly looking at rain. But here is the twist. On Sunday night, as the low-pressure system moves offshore and the winds shift to the northwest, there could be a brief changeover to wet snow. It is not going to amount to much. Maybe a coating to an inch on grassy surfaces. But if you are driving late Sunday night in Worcester or Springfield, Massachusetts, or Hartford, Connecticut, you could see some wet snowflakes mixing in. Just be aware of it. Boston and New York City, you are going to miss out on any accumulating snow. You will see rain, possibly heavy at times, but the snow line stays well to your north and west. Monday morning commuters in northern New England, though, are going to wake up to winter. If you live in Vermont, New Hampshire, or northern Maine, plan extra time for your Monday morning commute. Now, I need to take a step back and give you the full current conditions picture across the country because I want to make sure everyone knows what is happening right now in their area. And here is something I want you to do right now while you are watching this. Pull up your weather app on your phone, check the current temperature at your location, then compare it to what I am about to tell you about the rest of the country. I think you will be shocked at the temperature extremes we are seeing right now. This country is experiencing weather that spans over 120 degrees of temperature difference from the coldest to the hottest point. That is not normal. That is extraordinary. And it is all because of this amplified jet stream pattern that is causing record heat in some places and lingering cold in others. I also want you to be thinking about your friends and family as I go through these temperatures. If you have a grandmother in Pittsburgh, call her and tell her about tomorrow's storms. If you have a cousin in the Texas Panhandle, text them about the fire danger. If your son just moved to Vermont for college, make sure he knows about the snow. Weather information only saves lives when it reaches the people who need it. So share this, send the link, make the call. That is the single most important thing you can do right now. Let me start in the Northeast. New York City, 51 degrees and clear. Newark, 55. Jersey City, 55. White Plains, 47. Bridgeport, Connecticut, 47. New Haven, 47. Hartford, 46. Providence, 46. Worcester, 40. Springfield, Massachusetts, 46. Albany, 39. Syracuse, 37. Rochester, New York, 36. Buffalo, 39. Ithaca, 34. Binghamton, 32. These are cold for late March, especially that 32 in Binghamton. And let me take a moment to talk about what this means for the homeless population in the Northeast. When we talk about 32 degrees in Binghamton or 21 degrees in Berlin, New Hampshire, or 28 degrees in Montpelier, Vermont, these are not just numbers on a screen. These are life-threatening temperatures for people without shelter. If you know of anyone in the Northeast who is experiencing homelessness, please reach out to local shelters and warming centers. Many communities open additional emergency warming shelters when temperatures drop into the 20s and 30s. A simple phone call to your local 211 helpline can connect people with available resources. The Mid-Atlantic region: Washington, D.C., 61, Baltimore, 58, Philadelphia, 55, Wilmington, Delaware, 56, Richmond, 65, Norfolk, 54, Virginia Beach, 51, Charlottesville, 69, Roanoke, 72, Annapolis, 58, the Southeast, Atlanta, 79, Charlotte, 76, Raleigh, 70, Columbia, South Carolina, 80, Greenville, South Carolina, 73, Charleston, South Carolina, 71, Savannah, 77, Augusta, Georgia, 78, Macon, 75, Chattanooga, 80, Knoxville, 71, Asheville, 67 with thunderstorms, Nashville, 83, Florida from north to south, Jacksonville 80, Tallahassee 74, Gainesville 72, Orlando 75, Tampa 68, St. Petersburg 72, Sarasota 68, Fort Myers 70, West Palm Beach 73, Fort Lauderdale 72, Miami 73, Key West 73, Alabama and Mississippi, Birmingham 79, Montgomery 78, Mobile 69, Huntsville 75, Tuscaloosa 77, Jackson, Mississippi 79, Hattiesburg 78, Gulfport 70, Biloxi 69, Louisiana and Arkansas, New Orleans 75, Baton Rouge 75, Shreveport 84, Lafayette 72, Lake Charles 75, Little Rock 84, Fayetteville, Arkansas 84, Fort Smith 91, now the Central States, Chicago 75, Milwaukee 68, Madison 71, Green Bay 47, Minneapolis 78, Des Moines 85, Cedar Rapids 82, Iowa City 83, Kansas City 88, Topeka 92, Wichita 88, Oklahoma City 89, Tulsa 89, Omaha 90, Lincoln 94, the mountain and western states beyond what I already mentioned, Albuquerque 89, Santa Fe 84, Las Vegas 94, Reno 79, Boise 66, Idaho Falls 67, Jackson, Wyoming 62, Casper 77, Rapid City 80. And before I wrap up, let me hit some cities I have not mentioned yet because I know you want to hear about your area. Anchorage, Alaska, 26 degrees and sunny. Fairbanks 18 and sunny. Juneau 35 and mostly cloudy. Honolulu 78 and mostly cloudy. Hilo 81, back on the mainland. Amarillo, Texas, 94 degrees. That is not a typo. 94 in Amarillo in March. Laredo, 93. Brownsville, 78. Corpus Christi, 78. El Paso, 94. Midland, 95. San Angelo, 94. The I-70 corridor in the Midwest. St. Louis, 83 with passing clouds. Indianapolis, 75. Columbus, 63. Dayton, 63. Springfield, Illinois, 79. Bloomington, Illinois, 75. Peoria, 75. Now let me make sure everyone in California is covered. Bakersfield 91, Fresno 87, Sacramento 85, Stockton 83, Modesto 81, Visalia 88, Redlands 91, Riverside 88, San Bernardino 88, Fontana 86, Ontario 86, Pomona 86, Pasadena 85, Glendale 85, Burbank 85, Long Beach 78, Anaheim 82, Santa Clarita 88, Thousand Oaks 69, Oxnard 62, Ventura 62 with fog, San Luis Obispo 76, Santa Maria 69, Santa Barbara 63, Santa Rosa 84, Napa 77, Concord 83, Walnut Creek 83, Fremont 72, Oregon and Washington beyond Portland and Seattle, Bend 58, Salem 56, Eugene 56, Medford 65, Astoria 50, Corvallis 57, Tacoma 51, Bellingham 49, Olympia 52, Spokane 57, Yakima 62, Wenatchee 58. Now here is my ask to you, and this is important. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now telling me what city and state you are in. I read every single comment, and when I see where you are watching from, it helps me focus on the areas that matter most to my audience. If you are in Ohio, tell me. If you are in Pittsburgh, tell me. If you are in the Texas Panhandle worried about fire, tell me. If you are in Vermont bracing for snow, tell me. Your comment helps not just you, but everyone in your area because it tells me what to cover in more depth in tomorrow's update. Now let me summarize what you need to know going into the next 7 days because this is a packed weather week across the United States. Sunday, March 22nd. Severe storms from Ohio to Pennsylvania from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night. Damaging hail and strong winds are the primary threats. 22 million people at risk. Critical fire danger in the Texas Panhandle and southwest Oklahoma with winds gusting 45 to 50 miles per hour. Winter storm in northern New England with up to a foot of snow in the White Mountains. Monday, March 23rd. The severe weather threat shifts eastward and diminishes. Monday morning, commuters in northern New England deal with snow-covered roads. The cold front pushes through the east coast, dropping temperatures sharply. Behind the front, much cooler air floods in. Tuesday, March 24th. A powerful new storm system slams into the Pacific Northwest. Heavy rain for the valleys of Washington and Oregon. Heavy mountain snow for the Cascades and Olympics. 2 to 3 feet possible at higher elevations. Wednesday, March 25th. That Pacific Northwest storm crosses the Continental Divide and rapidly intensifies over the Canadian Rockies. Very strong winds, potentially damaging across the northern Rockies and High Plains. Dangerous crosswinds on Interstate 15 and Interstate 90. High-profile vehicles at extreme risk Thursday through the following week. The heat dome spreads eastward. The deep south and southeast see temperatures surge well above average. The northeast remains stuck in a below-average temperature pattern. Increased precipitation across most of the country, especially the southwest and the Great Lakes region. Now, I know I just threw a lot of information at you, so let me boil it down to the 3 things that matter most. If you are in the Ohio Valley or Pennsylvania, your action item is simple. Have a severe weather plan for Sunday afternoon and evening. Know where your safe room is. Have multiple ways to receive warnings. Get your vehicles under cover before 4 o'clock. And if you are going to be asleep when the storms hit your area, make sure your phone alerts will wake you up. If you are in the Texas Panhandle or southwest Oklahoma, absolutely no outdoor burning tomorrow. Secure any trailer chains. Be hyper aware of anything that could create a spark. One mistake in these conditions could start a wildfire that destroys everything in its path. If you are in northern New England, prepare for a late-season snow event. Give yourself extra time Monday morning, check your snow shovels, make sure your winter driving skills are still sharp, and if you are anywhere else in the country, enjoy the warmth but stay informed. This is an incredibly active weather pattern, and things can change quickly. Now let me leave you with this. Tomorrow is going to be one of those days that weather people remember, not because any single event is going to be the worst we have ever seen, but because of the sheer variety and contrast. Severe thunderstorms in Ohio, critical fire danger in Texas, a winter storm in New England, record heat in the Southwest, all on the same day, all connected by the same atmospheric pattern. That is March 2026 weather in America. I will be back tomorrow with a full update on how these events play out. And I have to tell you, what I am seeing in the long-range models for early April is something I have not seen in years. The pattern shift that is coming could bring some truly historic weather events to the central United States. I am not ready to go into full detail on that yet because the models are still coming into agreement, but what I will tell you is this. If you thought this week was intense, you have not seen anything yet. I will have the full breakdown in tomorrow's forecast. Stay safe out there tonight. If you found this information helpful, share it with someone you care about who lives in one of these affected areas. Sometimes a simple share is the difference between someone being prepared and someone being caught off guard. I will see you in the next update. And remember, drop your city and state in the comments below. I want to know where you are watching from, and I want to make sure your area gets the coverage it deserves in tomorrow's report. The more I hear from you, the better I can serve your community. But wait, before you go, I want to do something I have never done before in one of these forecasts. I want to give you a complete state-by-state breakdown of current conditions so that no matter where you are watching from, you know exactly what is happening outside your window right now and what is coming next. This is going to be the most comprehensive weather snapshot I have ever done, so stay with me. Let us go alphabetically, starting with Alabama. Birmingham, 79 and sunny. Mobile, 69 and sunny. Montgomery, 78 and sunny. Huntsville, 75 with passing clouds. Tuscaloosa, 77 and sunny. Auburn, 75 and clear. Dothan, 75 and clear. Talladega, 75 and clear. Florence, 79 and sunny. Bruton, 75 and sunny. Phoenix City, 77 and clear. Tuskegee, 75 and clear. Decatur, 75 and sunny. Alabama is warm, comfortable, and dry tonight. No concerns for tomorrow. If you are in Alabama, enjoy it. Alaska is a different world entirely. Anchorage, 26 and sunny. Fairbanks, 18 and sunny. Juneau, 35 and mostly cloudy. Kodiak, 31 with broken clouds. Sitka, 35 with heavy snow and fog. Ketchikan, 32 with heavy snow and dense fog. Valdez, 32 with scattered clouds. Bethel, 5 degrees. Nome, 12. Barrow, which is now called Utqiagvik, -12. Prudhoe Bay, -16. Arctic Village, 16. Point Hope, 1 degree. Kotzebue, -6. Unalaska, 23 with light snow. Alaska is locked in deep winter still, and that heavy snow situation in Sitka and Ketchikan is worth monitoring. Arizona is absolutely baking. Phoenix, 103. Tucson, 100. Scottsdale, 102. Mesa, 101. Tempe, 103. Chandler, 102. Glendale, 101. Surprise, 104. Goodyear, 102. Buckeye, 102, Yuma, 106, the hottest spot in America. Flagstaff is the coolest spot in the state at 75, which is still above average. Sedona, 88, Prescott, 84, Sierra Vista, 92, Bullhead City, 102, Mojave Valley, 102, Sahuarita, 99, Page, 86, Window Rock on the Navajo Nation, 82, Tuba City, 78. If you are in Arizona, stay hydrated. These are dangerous heat levels for March. Arkansas, Little Rock, 84 and sunny. Fayetteville, 84 and sunny. Fort Smith, 91. Bentonville, 87. Batesville, 84. Jonesboro area and northeast Arkansas running in the low 80s. Rogers, 89. Arkansas is cooking ahead of tomorrow as cold front. California deserves a deep dive. Los Angeles, 68. San Francisco, 66. San Diego, 67. Sacramento, 85. San Jose, 77. Fresno, 87. Bakersfield, 91. Stockton, 83. Oakland, 69. Long Beach, 78. Anaheim, 82. Irvine, 75. Santa Clarita, 88. Palmdale, 85. Lancaster, 84. Redding, 83. Chico, 86. Eureka, 55. Arcata, 55. The North Coast is cool and comfortable while the inland valleys are hot. Ridgecrest, 91. Victorville, 86, Hesperia, 86, Big Bear Lake, 64, a nice mountain escape from the valley heat, South Lake Tahoe, 66 degrees, perfect spring conditions, Riverside, 88, San Bernardino, 88, Fontana, 86, Ontario, 86, Pomona, 86, Pasadena, 85, Glendale, 85, Burbank, 85, Santa Rosa, 84, Napa, 77, Concord, 83, Walnut Creek, 83, Fremont, 72, Santa Barbara, 63, Monterey, 64, Santa Cruz, 68, San Luis Obispo, 76, Visalia, 88, Redlands, 91, Modesto, 81, Turlock, 81, Salinas, 69, Watsonville, 68, Santa Maria, 69, Lompoc, 67, Solvang, 81. Colorado, Denver, 83, Colorado Springs, 84, Boulder, 88, Fort Collins, 86, Pueblo, 91, Grand Junction, 83, Durango, 80, Aspen, 71, Breckenridge, 61, Cannon City, 86, Castle Rock, 85, Montrose, 83, Telluride, 64. The Front Range is running 15 to 20 degrees above normal. Connecticut. Hartford, 46, Bridgeport, 47, New Haven, 47, Stamford, 47, Danbury, 45, Glastonbury, 46, Waterbury, 42, Manchester, 46. Connecticut is chilly tonight. Watch for a brief changeover to wet snow late Sunday night. Delaware. Dover, 50, Wilmington, 56, Rehoboth Beach, 49. Delaware is cool and dry. Florida, the Sunshine State living up to its name. Jacksonville, 80. Tallahassee, 74, Orlando, 75, Tampa, 68, Miami, 73, Fort Lauderdale, 72, West Palm Beach, 73, St. Petersburg, 72, Sarasota, 68, Naples, 70, Fort Myers, 70, Key West, 73, Daytona Beach, 71, Pensacola, 67, Panama City, 67, Gainesville, 72, Ocala, 69, Clearwater, 66. Cape Coral, 70, Bradenton, 68, Port St. Lucie, 70, Stewart, 70, Melbourne, 70, Cocoa Beach, 71, Kissimmee, 72, Lakeland, 72, Sebring, 73, Fort Walton Beach, 67, Destin, 67, DeLand, 75, Deltona, 74, Inverness, 69, Leesburg, 72. Florida is perfect right now. Georgia, Atlanta, 79, Savannah, 77, Augusta, 78, Columbus, 77, Macon, 75, Athens, 84, Gainesville, 76, Dalton, 76, Cumming, 76, Brazelton, 77, Lawrenceville, 77, Fayetteville, 77, LaGrange, 73, Valdosta, 69, Waycross, 73, Toccoa, 67, Perry, 73, Thomasville, 70, Georgia is gorgeous tonight, Idaho, Boise, 66, Idaho Falls 67, Pocatello 67, Coeur d'Alene 54, Lewiston 59, Jerome 68, Nampa 64, Post Falls 54, Sandpoint 54, Twin Falls area running in the upper 60s, Illinois, Chicago 75, Springfield 79, Peoria 75, Rockford 72, Bloomington 75, Champaign 70, Decatur 75, Carbondale 79, Aurora 71, Effingham 75, DeKalb 67, Evanston 75, Orland Park 75, Indiana, Indianapolis 75, Fort Wayne 62, South Bend 66, Evansville 75, Bloomington 74, Lafayette 74, Terre Haute 72, Muncie 70, Kokomo 66, Elkhart 63, Anderson 73, Iowa, Des Moines 85, Cedar Rapids 82, Iowa City 83, Sioux City 95, Davenport 81, Waterloo 79, Ames 80, Mason City 73, Dubuque 73, Sioux City at 95 degrees in March is genuinely shocking. Kansas, Wichita 88, Kansas City, Kansas 88, Topeka 92, Lawrence 89, Manhattan 90, Salina 90, Hayes 90, Garden City 92, Dodge City 89, Emporia 89, Junction City 90, Hutchinson 90. The western half is firmly in the fire weather danger zone. Kentucky, Lexington 69, Louisville 76, Bowling Green 78, Hopkinsville 79, Owensboro 77, Paducah 80, Frankfort 69, Murray 78, Shelbyville 75, Louisiana, New Orleans 75, Baton Rouge 75, Shreveport 84, Lafayette 72, Lake Charles 75, Alexandria 79, Maine, Portland 35, Augusta 32, Bangor 31, Presque Isle 28, Lewiston 33, Calais 32. Remember, Augusta could see nearly 7 inches of snow. Maryland, Baltimore 58, Annapolis 58, Hagerstown 61, Frederick 59, Germantown 59, Cumberland 61, Waldorf 60, Chesapeake Beach 60. Western Maryland could see late-night storms. Massachusetts, Boston 43, Worcester 40, Springfield 46, Cambridge 43, Brockton 44, Lowell 40, Salem 38, Barnstable 39, Pittsfield 36, Plymouth 41, Michigan, Detroit 39, Grand Rapids 58, Ann Arbor 40, Traverse City 46, Flint 45, Lansing 53, Kalamazoo 58, Saginaw 46, Marquette 40, Holland 61, Port Huron 36. Minnesota, Minneapolis 78, St. Paul 69, Duluth 34, Rochester 73, Bemidji 36, International Falls 34, Mankato 69, Red Wing 72, Mississippi, Jackson 79, Gulfport 70, Biloxi 69, Hattiesburg 78, Tupelo 80, Vicksburg 77, Missouri, St. Louis 83, Kansas City 88, Springfield 85, Columbia 81, Jefferson City 89, Joplin 87, Branson 88 with light rain, Sedalia 86, Hannibal 81, St. Joseph 89. Missouri is hot ahead of the front. Montana, Billings 49, Great Falls 37, Missoula 48, Helena 52, Butte 48, Bozeman 55, Kalispell 50, Sydney 37 with light rain. Montana is cool and will face strong winds midweek. Nebraska, Omaha 90, Lincoln 94, Grand Island 92, Kearney 91, North Platte 83, Scottsbluff 87, Lincoln at 94 in March. Extraordinary Nevada. Las Vegas 94, Reno 79, North Las Vegas 93, Elko 74, Carson City 79, Pahrump 90, Laughlin 102, New Hampshire, Concord 41, Manchester 38, Nashua 39, Portsmouth 38, Berlin 21. Heavy snow coming to the White Mountains, New Jersey. Newark 55, Jersey City 55, Trenton 52, Atlantic City 48, Edison 55, Elizabeth 55, Patterson 52, Lakewood 50, Seaside Heights 47, New Mexico, Albuquerque 89, Santa Fe 84, Las Cruces 91, Roswell 95, Clovis 94, Hobbs 93, Socorro 92, Farmington 86, Alamogordo 93, Ruidoso 79, New York, New York City 51, Buffalo 39, Rochester 36, Syracuse 37, Albany 39, Ithaca 34, Binghamton 32, Plattsburgh 31, Utica 35, Lake Placid 27, Poughkeepsie 44, White Plains 47, Yonkers 52, North Carolina, Charlotte 76, Raleigh 70, Greensboro 70, Asheville 67 with thunderstorms, Wilmington 70, Fayetteville 72, Durham 70, Winston-Salem 69, Hickory 73, North Dakota, Bismarck 40, Fargo 36, Grand Forks 34, Minot 30 with light snow and ice fog, Williston 30 with ice fog, North Dakota is cold and raw, Ohio, Columbus 63, Cleveland 40, Cincinnati 67, Dayton 63, Toledo 37, Akron 53, Canton 52, Youngstown 54, Mansfield 54, Lima 62. Ohio is right in the target zone for tomorrow. Oklahoma, Oklahoma City 89, Tulsa 89, Enid 90, Stillwater 92, Shawnee 88, McAllister 87, Altus 95, Duncan 91. Southwestern Oklahoma is in the critical fire zone. Oregon, Portland 57, Eugene 56, Salem 56, Bend 58, Medford 65, Corvallis 57, Astoria 50, Newport 48, Roseburg 62, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia 55, Pittsburgh 37, Allentown 47, Erie 37, Harrisburg 52, State College 48, Scranton 39, Reading 52, Altoona 55, Lancaster 50, York 54, Wilkes-Barre 39, Punxsutawney 51. Pennsylvania is the state I am most concerned about tomorrow. Rhode Island, Providence 46, Warwick 46, Newport 41, South Carolina, Columbia 80, Charleston 71, Greenville 73, Myrtle Beach 64, Spartanburg 63, Florence 75. Beautiful weekend ahead, South Dakota, Sioux Falls 81, Rapid City 80, Pierre 73, Brookings 77, Yankton 84, Tennessee, Nashville 83, Memphis 79, Knoxville 71, Chattanooga 80, Clarksville 82, Murfreesboro 80, Cookeville 75, Kingsport 70, Sevierville 71, Texas, Dallas 89, Houston 77, San Antonio 91, Austin 89, Fort Worth 87, El Paso 94, Amarillo 94, Lubbock 95, Midland 95, Corpus Christi 78, Brownsville 78, Laredo 93, Tyler 84, Waco 85, Killeen 89, San Angelo 94, Texarkana 88, Longview 84, Galveston 71, Conroe 83, Denton 88, McKinney 86, Plano 86, Garland 90, Grand Prairie 87, Irving 88. Fire danger in the Panhandle is critical. Utah, Salt Lake City 78, Provo 75, Ogden 77, St. George 89, Moab 86, Vermont, Burlington 34, Montpelier 28, Rutland 32, Brattleboro 39, snow arriving Sunday, Virginia, Richmond 65, Virginia Beach 51, Norfolk 54, Arlington 61, Roanoke 72, Charlottesville 69, Lynchburg 65, Harrisonburg 63, Fredericksburg 63, Washington, Seattle 53, Tacoma 51, Spokane 57, Olympia 52, Bellingham 49, Yakima 62, Wenatchee 58, Walla Walla 60. Calm today, big storm coming Tuesday, West Virginia, Charleston 70, Morgantown 61, Huntington 71, Wheeling 59, Clarksburg 62. Directly in the path of Sunday evening storms, Wisconsin, Milwaukee 68, Madison 71, Green Bay 47, Appleton 57, Eau Claire 70, La Crosse 76, Racine 68, Kenosha 70, Sheboygan 61, Wyoming, Cheyenne 77, Casper 77, Jackson 62, Riverton 75, Rock Springs 72, Thermopolis 79. Wind increasing later in the week, and that covers over 270 cities across every single state. If I did not mention your specific city, the nearest one I covered should give you a very good idea of your conditions. Now, as I truly wrap up, let me remind you of the three critical takeaways. 1. Ohio Valley and Pennsylvania. Severe storms, Sunday from 4 to 10 in the evening Eastern Time. Large hail and damaging winds. Have your plan ready. 2. Texas Panhandle and southwest Oklahoma. Critical fire danger Sunday. No outdoor burning. Winds gusting 45 to 50 miles per hour across tinder-dry vegetation. 3. Northern New England. Winter storm Sunday into Monday. Up to a foot of snow in the mountains. Slippery Monday morning commute. That is the forecast. And what I am seeing in the models for early April is going to blow your mind. The pattern shift that is developing could bring some of the most significant severe weather we have seen in years to the central United States. I will have the full breakdown in the next update, and trust me, you do not want to miss it. Let me give you just a taste of what I am watching for early April. The same ridge pattern that is producing this record heat across the southwest and southern plains is going to undergo a significant transformation. Instead of a stable, stationary dome of high pressure, the ridge is going to become more progressive, meaning it is going to move eastward. As it does, it is going to open the door for a series of strong storm systems to dive into the central United States. And those storm systems are going to be running into an air mass that is loaded with moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and supercharged by weeks of above-average temperatures. The 8 to 14-day models are showing something that gets severe weather researchers excited and nervous at the same time. A persistent pattern of warm, moist air surging northward out of the Gulf, combined with regular intrusions of cold air from the north, setting up repeated severe weather setups from roughly the Red River Valley of Texas all the way up through Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and into the Midwest. This is what is known as an active severe weather pattern. And when I say active, I mean we could be looking at multiple significant severe weather events in a 2-week window. I am not saying this to scare you. I am saying this so you can be prepared. If you live in Tornado Alley or the surrounding states, now is the time to check your storm shelter. Now is the time to make sure your emergency kit is stocked. Now is the time to review your family's severe weather plan. Do not wait until the tornado warning is sounding. Prepare now while you have time. I will have much more detail on the early April outlook in my next forecast. The models need another couple of days to come into better agreement before I start giving specific dates and threat levels. But the signal is there, and it is strong. April 2026 is shaping up to be a very busy month for severe weather across the heart of this country. Drop your city and state in the comments. Share this with your friends and